spoken capacity that you want about like everything we've experienced over the past few weeks in the Hemingway workshops, and just like anything related to that.
Yeah.
In any loose way, as long as it's related, I've open expression. But before we get started, what we do it at
does Mary need to talk about did she want to talk about the thing first before we do this part, the community agreements?
Before that? Okay.
Or after that? I don't know.
Katie, did you want to talk before or after this part?
It's up to you.
Okay. If you want to right now, just talk to everyone about what's going on, that'd be awesome.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to let everybody know that we're doing one more Hemingway at this point event, which is Let's Talk About Hemingway. And it's free, of course. It's on Monday on the 19th of April at 5 o'clock. It's a little early. Dr. Janelle Adsit, who's an assistant professor of English up at HSU, she's the moderator, and she brought together educators from across the country to talk about Hemingway. We're going to watch about 14 minutes of some clips that we have of Hemingway of the film. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll get a quick introduction to the film, which the series actually, which is really interesting if you haven't seen it yet, and you can watch it online right now. But Janelle, she found some great people. There's Ann Putnam is an instructor up at Puget Sound in Tacoma, and she teaches creative writing and gender studies and Hemingway. And she's written some other books about Hemingway. She'll be on the panel. Nice. Eric Bennett is also an author, and he's a professor of English and the director of the American Studies at Providence College in Rhode Island. We also have Reggie Edmonds, who was here with us last week, and Reggie is a poet. Reggie's an educator and a cultural curator. And Reggie's hopefully going to throw a twist into all of this, I hope. Yes. And we have Max Pingus. I think I said Max's name right. Max is a 6th grade language arts teacher at Baltimore. And he's also an alumni of HSU. And he's a writer and a longtime reader of Hemingway. So that's all coming up, and you can go to KEET.org to sign up if you want. We would love to have you there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I love partnering with all of you.
Yeah, this has been so great. This has been so great.
Yeah, it's good for
Wow, that's a lot of amazing speakers too.
Yeah, that's in my calendar. Like you were talking, I was like, the 19th is happening.
Good.
Well, yeah, so now we're gonna just go over our community agreements. Like, this is what kind of what we say at Word Humboldt every week, but this is kind of adapted a little bit for the show tonight. And I know after having Reggie's workshop and then having the one that Elizabeth and ran the week before, like there's a lot to think about, a lot to write about, a lot. So yeah, let's get into it, and hopefully we'll have some people who want to share. So this is the Hemingway Spoken Word Open Mic, brought to you by KEET, Word Humboldt, and the Humboldt Public Library.
We always do a group of community agreements, and this just keeps us all on the same page as far as making sure that we're really coming to a safe place, a safe space to read and listen.
And the first one is it's 5 minutes or less per person, so that everyone who wants to read gets a chance to share.
The next one is the spoken mic or open mic. is, it could be, that doesn't mean it has to be a poem or a written down poem. This could be poetry, a short story, an essay, a cappella song, comedy, any form of spoken expression. That includes freestyle. We have a lot of really amazing freestyle artists that that enjoy coming to our spoken word stuff. And the important part of it is tonight it's a Hemingway theme, so we'd like it to be related to Hemingway.
At least in some way.
Yeah.
All right, next one is we need to respect the mic and the person behind it. So this is what we're gonna practice this. So when someone is performing, when it's their turn, mute your mic so that you know, you don't like turn away to go talk to your kids or something and you'd be yelling in the background. I've seen that happen
so many
like,
times.
Get back in your mouth. Yeah. We ruin someone's whole performance. So let's all mute our mics when someone goes up, and we'll practice that. Definitely support the brave performers. It's not easy even in in Zoom. It like performing in front of any amount of people is never easy. So like our community always wants to encourage you to clap, be loud, make sure they know you're
yeah, so that includes unmuting your mic, and definitely please like clap, cheer, you know, support and stuff like that. Like please, we'd love to see that. The louder the better. It really does make a big difference to us. You know, we crave all of that. And then we come here to share that, and you know, sharing vulnerable things is tough sometimes. So yeah, so be sure, we definitely welcome unmuting for, you know, giving praise and stuff like that. And also in the comment section that you can do 24/7, but just remember to mute your mics before the next person goes up.
Yeah, you can send positive notes in the comments, but only send critiques if that person asks.
Yeah, we definitely, you know, that's a really, really important part of Word Humboldt, to make sure that this is a safe space. And what that means is, you know, sharing a critical comment or something that could be feedback is really only welcome if the person is giving the request out, like, I need feedback on this piece, it's not finished yet. For a finished piece of art, that's really not the point of it. So yeah, you want to just keep your feedback to positive stuff for finished artwork.
Okay, so also freedom of speech does not mean freedom from accountability. So you're free to express yourself on this forum, but if there's any use of hate speech within your expression when the moderate, then like one of us, who the host, will meet you. And if we aren't able to have a safe dialogue, then we'll be asked to leave. I really don't think that's going to happen, but we need to say this to make sure that it won't.
Yeah.
And depending on, and it does happen, and sometimes in different community spaces. So we
yeah, you never know. You never know. You know, Hemingway did use derogatory slurs, and so, you know, that's a really important part of this specific workshop, is making sure that if you are not a Black person, you don't get to say the N-word in this forum.
Yeah, so we're ready to get started. Thank you for everyone for being here.
Yeah, so excited.
I hope you feel safe to share if you'd like to. And also follow Word Humboldt on Instagram and Facebook for we're gonna have other community spoken word events coming up. And so yeah, you should definitely come and check us out sometime.
This is a picture of our group from a while back. We had a wonderful couple of features come through. We like to have features once a month when, you know, when things go back to being able to have open features and stuff like that. So please keep us in mind, and we will definitely be posting through our social media account.
Okay, y'all. So Susanna, do you want to be the sacrificial poet?
I will be the sacrifice. I will sacrifice. So,
hey guys.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go right in.
So everyone mute your mic. I think everyone's good, and please support her and listen.
Woo! All the way to the stage.
All the way.
Just kidding. Trapped between obligation and mental illness, to fall apart is better than to break down, might mean a refusal to conform, might mean a loss repeated until there is nothing left. Get better. Change your attitude, measured in details I've skipped over. Rain comes down and soaks us on purpose. I comment on the weather as if meaning can be bled from these storms. Dreams blanketed in chain links provide no warmth. Can't seem to find who belongs to all these missing limbs. Cracked phone screen provides a silvery reminder that I was careless, that I am crumbling. I ran through barbed wire to get here. There seems to be shrapnel left inside a soul survivor. Wonder if a soul survived. I invited an angel to watch over me. She prefers to remind me how uncomfortable I am in my skin, that I am abnormal. I will die here, uncomfortable, grateful for a good view. Thank you.
Yes. Unmute everybody. It's Susanna.
Yay.
That was
great.
that is a great way to start off the night right there. That was
so for me personally, like what Hemingway means to me, and I've been to some of these workshops, and of course I haven't watched all the documentaries yet, but what Hemingway means to me in a huge way is that he expressed a lot of his mental illness through his writing. And you know, it was beautiful, but it was also tragic, you know, at the same time. And this poem here definitely is about that for me. And it also has a lot of, you know, societal norms and conformities that I think that he really struggled with as well.
Yeah, that's an important part of his work. I'm glad you did that one. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. We don't have a list. Usually on open mic night, we got a list. You know, we can call you up. We can, like, you know, we say up on deck, up coming up next, and so on and so forth. So people have prepared time and everything like that.
Let's if you would like, if you have something prepared you want to share, how about let's put your name in the chat and just say your name and then whatever.
You're welcome. I mean, like, you're welcome just to go in. You're welcome just to read your poem. You're welcome to talk about it and everything. Just make sure Mary, it's within that 5 minutes. But
all right, Mary, you have something to share? Awesome. Let's give it a try. Oh, it sounds like Mickey Mouse.
It's so weird.
Maybe. I wonder what it is. Maybe.
I mean, we could unmute us.
What about like headphones and no?
Mary, if you try turning off your camera, that may help with the amount of bandwidth that's being used, and maybe it'll help the microphone.
Really sorry.
Yeah.
If you want to if you want to put if you want to put your words into the comment section, then we could all read it.
Or if you have earbuds that you can use and plug into the computer, that might also work as a speaker. But I think it might be the speaker on your computer might be that.
Dang.
Because like even when you were talking and it was feedbacking through her into the weird Mickey Mouse sound. That looks really good, Donna. That looks yummy. I'm down.
Well, Mary, we can try again in a little bit, like if you want to try one of those things, but yeah, we'll move on to another one, and we'll see if we can try it again later. Does anyone else have a piece they'd like to share? Oh,
Heidi says yeah.
Heidi's got one?
Definitely.
Yes. Let's go, Polly.
So I actually have two, if it's all right with you guys. So today is 15 years to the day since my best friend committed suicide. And he was a poet also. And I have a poem that I'd like to share that he wrote. And again, I'm feeling like what Susanna said about Hemingway's mental health and him struggling to fit in the societal expectations. I feel like that was very much part of my friend's self-loathing. It's what he writes about in this poem. And then I have a poem that I wrote after his death about me kind of coming to terms with the feelings that not fitting into society gave him, the kind of expectations that society had for him that made him feel so terrible about himself. So if you guys,
share,
they're not very long, either of them. So
beautiful, thank you.
And his name is Michael Butcher, and this is his poem. Blooming through days in the spectrum of the garden, a canvas ravaged with color and laced within when the breeze can be seen. But why this filthy taste? Because they scorched the sky. Can't you feel yourself wither in trick traps and lies? Don't lie down now to die. Bleed for the seeds with reckless abandon. It's depth, not a mold that's needed. Expanding roots, deep in dead ground, soaking fertile wisdom, a forest we rise. So that was his, and then this is a poem that I wrote years and years later about him. It's called Brilliance. Kitty sits regarding me, black and white, badass and brilliant, perched on a rock amongst many, forming the seawall in San Sebastian, Spain. Did I think coming here would make missing you easier? Make your absence less apparent? But it only accentuates the loss of you. Here we roam together, reveling in reverie, basking in the beauty of the Bay of Biscay. Now here I roam alone and deeply lonely, trying hard to love myself as only you have loved me, struggling to make peace with a world that convinced you you were worthless, when you were only ever brilliant and beautiful to me. Thank you.
Wow, that was incredible. That line that you said, did I think coming here would make me miss you less? Oh, that was, I felt that.
Right, that one.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm so happy you shared that with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was incredible. That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
Does anyone else?
I'm gonna start calling names.
Harmony. Oh, Harmony. Yes.
Hey,
awesome.
Harmony. Absolutely. Please come up.
Please.
Hi. I have a poem I wrote about about creativity and writing. And it's related to Hemingway because he's a writer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. I thought I could kill my creative self in fits of fragrant fury, with sweat stinging my eyes, breathy bugs clinging to my pools. I am many ponds together in one. The child of lily pads, you call me. My brow is furrowed. I am fields away from terraforming myself into something else less violent, more crisp or maybe smooth. Must I use the word soul to mean feeling too much or enough or that giganticness? I want to feel moss against my face, but either way, I can't kill the sun or soothe my sobriety with any potions. So I am these murky pools, lagoons of all that longing, brimming with foul things, along with glistening. The end.
Okay,
was
unmute
beautiful.
everybody. Give it up. Give it up for Harmony.
That was beautiful. I love the dichotomy where you have like, yes, I have all of these like murky, sad, like, you know, this darkness, but then there's also the glistening, the beautiful, you know, and that is really, really incredible. It's very hard to write both of those.
Right?
Thanks.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Hey.
Well done.
Hey, we're
Thank
so lucky
you.
to have all you amazing writers on here tonight.
I know, I'm so
Thank
excited.
you. Okay, Mary, let's try again. Let's give it a shot.
Try unmuting.
She's unmuted. Yeah.
Now it's muted.
No. Oh, technology. Oh. No can hear.
I'm so sad.
No, I really want to hear it. Oh. That's all right. We'll try again, maybe going off and coming back on.
I would love it if, I don't know how long your piece is, Mary, but if you wanted to type it into the chat, I could read it if that would be okay with you. And then like, and then we could all at least, because I definitely want to hear what you have written. That's really important. We kind of, yeah, we do that at Word Humboldt. We'll bury a body to get you up on that stage.
Yeah. Well, while we're waiting for that, does anyone else have something they want to share?
Look at who's up on the screen. I'm pointing at you, Daniel.
Yes, Daniel.
Originally,
By the
I was
way,
going to...
Just so you guys all know, like, Daniel is the only person I would call on.
Would what?
Yeah.
Oh.
So to read, I would be like, Daniel, read.
Because we love Daniel. We love you, Daniel.
It's because Daniel one time attended a show that I had to host by myself before I had any experience. And so I made him read a poem twice.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Dylan wasn't available. I had to do it. We ended early. I think we took like a 45-minute break in between round 1 and round 2. He remembers.
That don't happen no more.
All
right, Daniel.
I originally was going to do a poem from the workshop, but one of my poems is about a friend who went the same way as Hemingway. So figured that'd be more relatable, I guess. You're familiar with it.
All right. Go, Daniel.
The thing about being a botanist and being severely depressed is the way each flower on an inflorescence can wave and creak as a bony hand beckoning you to manifest yourself into its fertilizer. One end-starved bite. That's it. Building ledges, pills, bathtubs, they all have too many steps, too many fidgets, too much time to remember the funeral you attended, too many seconds to flash back the bloody knuckles lifted from Fortuna's sidewalks, or how long the lines out to church were, or how your scab-handed Fred said he'll never think of killing himself again, or how not even a year later you spent hours into the night convincing him not to jump out his new apartment's window, or how you swear to God you're gonna mine him out of small town pavement. You can never commit suicide and not betray everyone. You can never fantasize about your graveyard plot and just assume no one will try to dig you back out. You selfish prick on the wrist. Don't you dare go further.
Woo!
Knock my head off.
That was so good. Wow.
Daniel, I love that poem. Every time you read it, every time. You couldn't hear me, but I was mute snapping the whole time.
A lot of mute snapping.
Yeah.
I like the words manifest and fertilizer together.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're so good, Daniel. Oof.
Yeah,
I
Daniel,
was coming up.
you guys gotta like, yeah, for real. Daniel comes to workshops and leaves with like finished products. I'm just saying, you know, nobody's jealous over here. I'm not jealous. I just work on things for like months at a time. It's cool. Yeah, what Heidi said, felt that anger and expressing that, and that you know, I've lost somebody to suicide, and it sucks, man. It sucks because you're like, why am I so angry at this person that, like, you know, you don't want to blame, and it's very confusing. It's very, very confusing.
So I just finished one yesterday. If you guys would like to hear another
yes,
poem essay.
I'll be quiet. I'll pretend to be muted.
This was I got kind of inspired from the tip of the iceberg theory that Hemingway is known for, that Reggie was talking about. And yeah, so this is what came from it, and it's called The Tip of the Iceberg. Hemingway believed that in fiction, the reader should only see what is above the water. Just the very tip of the frozen icy mass that is a story, while the author, all-knowing and powerful, holds the bulk of this knowledge to himself, inaccessible, a false front of mystery that has been cursing ninth graders for like 60 years. And if this isn't the perfect metaphor for the broken claims of the English canon, then I don't know what is. The classic literature list has loomed over English classes for too long. A long list of powderwigs and privilege who literally, by their own confession, made their stuff hard to figure out on purpose. Just the tip of the iceberg, like Hemingway said, omission is the key. And the bouncer at the classic club knew just what exclusive means to the owners at the top. Just the tip of the iceberg only presents the perspective and pen of rich white men, while the contributions of POC and women across hundreds of years have remained submerged in the icy waters below the surface. Just the tip of the iceberg holds a cold grip on the old ways, but it's 2021 and it's all melting slowly. The old man out to the sea. Writing is more than money, whiteness, and a mythical name. It is made of grit, truth, and the talent to tell a story. And that is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes. The line about, you know, where you call in a little bit, you like hint to global warming.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done, my friend. That was good. It's melting. Yep.
So,
I like that. That was clever.
So my neighbor came out this morning when I was heading to work, and he looked at me, he was like, oh, I've been loving all the Hemingway workshops and all this stuff. And he was like, I never thought of Hemingway as an actual person before this. Yeah. I was like, dang, yeah.
That's real. That's absolutely. I said that at one of the workshops. I was like, you know, I feel like Hemingway, like, people know the name, but they really couldn't tell you a lot more than that.
And like Hills of White Elephants, you have to read in ninth grade every day.
Yeah, or, you know, from the bell tolls. I mean, everybody knows that. But you know, it's like, but what does that even mean? And thinking of an actual human being rather than one thing that they were most famous for, you know, adds a whole new perspective. And we do that all the time with people from the 21st century. But it's much harder to do that for people that have been iconized forever and ever. You know what I mean? So this is really cool.
And like the canon's starting to change.
Yes.
Finally, but it's still got a lot of way to go. So
slow. Oh, Harmony, I love your kitty. Thank you for bringing.
It's a kitty. It's a kitty.
Oh my God.
Aww.
I like that you got a reference to the old man in the sea in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the old men in the sea. Oh, Mary sent her poem. Cool.
Okay, so if it's okay with you guys, I'd like to read what Mary wrote. Okay, awesome.
Yay.
The core of all that was right, just and true back then when the rivers were on fire. And I first learned in 77 about the economics of factoring in all the costs. There was a need to define balance outside of the monocultures and the Judeo-Christian dominance of our mother, to know interdependence, to experience the wildness. Was this boomer generation to craft and enforce strong global environmental laws, or simply cave to the subterfuge of the ex-cons? Moving forward, the 80s, the 90s, the aughts, and the teens until today, when we have moved our raging fires to other shores, and we continue to timidly feed a few mighty Jeff Bezos mouths with the dying feed of extinction that only blooms in the memories of a lost world. Yeah, Robert Daltrey said, why don't y'all just fade away? My generation, it's not hard to read.
Give it up for Mary, everybody.
Sorry if I like stumbled a little bit. It definitely was my first reading, but that was really powerful. Well done, Mary. Well done. Yes. Yeah.
I'm so glad we got to hear it.
Yeah, you know, like, and that's the other thing. It's like this is like 100 years, man, that we're talking about. You know, there's so much has happened, and it's such a generational issue, I think. And I'm so glad that you brought that into the conversation, to the poetry. There's so many different, like, you know, places that people can come from in a workshop, you know, about Hemingway or with a Hemingway theme. There's so many different places where it could go.
That's pretty cool.
I liked the idea of extinction blooming, because I usually think of blooming as like being a pretty flower.
Right.
I like
that. The language twists are always awesome.
Yeah. But if you think about it, if you're the last flower on earth and you're blooming, and that eventually the bloom is kind of like the ending of it. You know what I mean? That's the end. That was really good. It's really beautiful.
I don't want to call you out, but Todd, would you like to go?
See, I said I'd only call out one person, Daniel, and he already read, so I would, but you know, I can't speak for Dylan.
It's fine. I'm just looking at it.
Hey.
I don't know how it ties to Hemingway, but this is the poem I remember from the workshop. Elizabeth stated a prompt, like, write about a fallen idol or someone who fell from, like a famous person who kind of fell. And I couldn't think of anyone that I looked up to or was famous but I recently saw in the news about Derek Jackson, and I kind of wrote about him and his fall. So I'm going to go from there.
Awesome. Okay.
Look at the hypocrite fall, spouting his opinions on cheating. What is the point of cheating on your spouse? People cheat in games to win. People cheat on their diets because if they have to choke down another kale smoothie, they're just going to vomit. Yet there's no real good reason for cheating on a spouse. Yet this relationship sage fell like many people that he called out on his cheating. And he was brave enough to admit it, his dastardly deed, and to the world in one video, then used the many excuses to justify it in another. It was a mistake. It just happened. I said I was sorry. I took accountability. I found God. I know better now. Women should not have put me on a pedestal. How could they not? He is a smooth-talking Adonis-like car salesman who spouted the correct combination of words that unlocked the hearts and minds and wallets of all the unhappy women in bad relationships with men that did not deserve them. Your career is over, destroyed by wanton lust, and any advice you have is tainted as you hold a tipping jar spouting deals.
Yeah, everybody unmute.
I love it, Todd. I love it. And that's important, you know, that's important. It's like, that's exactly what this whole process has been about, you guys. Like, can you appreciate the art if you disagree with the artist? you know?
Yep.
And that's a perfect example of it. It's like, well, you did that, so yeah.
And yeah, that prompt was from the first one in relation to Reggie's workshop. So
Yeah.
that was cool.
I have to say I've learned a lot about Hemingway through these workshops for sure. Like there's so many more so much more that you can learn than just kind of like reading a Wikipedia page. Which is, usually how I nerd out on stuff, unfortunately. Like,
and if anyone is like can do a documentary, right, it's Ken Burns. Like,
yeah,
super good. Yeah. I'm actually like looking forward to seeing the rest.
Yeah, Ken Burns is one of my favorites. He's a big deal. He's a big deal in our house, that's for sure.
Yeah, Will's watched all the like baseball.
Yes.
Yeah, would anyone else like to share? Thank you so much, Todd.
I just want to tell you guys, I am so impressed with what we've talked about. We've covered like so many different amazing, like broad topics that really all do relate and tie back into this one singular human being and how they influenced writing and culture from that point in positive and negative ways.
Yeah.
And this has just been incredible. Yeah. So I'm very grateful.
Me too.
To participate. Oh yeah, Jana, thank you. I was like,
yes, please.
Okay, I don't have something to read, but I have a couple of experiences to share. My husband's grandmother was a nurse with the Abraham Lincoln Brigade during the Spanish Civil War, and she actually took care of Hemingway. And his vulnerable side came out. He was known as a pompous ass as a patient. And I had the good fortune of, I used to live on the East Coast, going down to Key West and spending time in his studio, where the cats with the 6 toes, there's still cats that are descendants of his cats there. And when I stood there quietly, it's like I could still feel his presence in his studio all those decades later. It was pretty wild. So he was very powerful in a lot of ways, some good, some not so good.
That's incredible.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Jana.
thank you for sharing that, Jana. I've never been to Hemingway's house. I thought about it though. I like imagined it. Or his.
And then you can go to the bar where he did a lot of drinking in Key West.
Yeah. See, that's what Hemingway and I had in common. I could read you probably like 5 poems about being an alcoholic that also relates to Hemingway, but that's just, I read the one poem.
Yeah. You go down the back streets in Key West, and I don't mean back streets in a bad way, but just like we're off the tourist path, and it's pretty incredible. It's pretty beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds fun.
Key West is a long way away. I know Will wants me to go there. He's like, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Jana.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Valerie.
Valerie, hello.
So I was working on a found poem as we were, as I was listening to others' poems, and because I had one, but I did it at the other. So it is a found poem or blackout poetry from The Sun Also Rises, which was the first workshop that I went to. It was about blackout poetry, and interpret it as you will. Again, I muttered. Something behind her went walking up the street under the arc light. It turned around, empty and full both. I turned, kicked out. I ought to see. I felt again. It is about in the daytime, at night. So I guess that's kind of, there's always something lurking out there.
Yeah.
Whether
it's true.
Expectations about you or what you will. But so that was some Blackout poetry.
Oh, yeah, that's what the so cool about the blackout poetry is. You create a whole new thing.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
like kind of flip it on its head sometimes.
And like, I mean, I feel like we all kind of, it's like, you know, calling back to Daniel's poem and stuff like that. And also Heidi, you know, it's like we all think about our legacy, not just our legacy, but the legacy of somebody close to us. But that brings you up to your own legacy. And this is like, I think that Hemingway's work and this series of workshops has like really encouraged us to think about, you know, what do you want to leave behind? What do you want people to remember of you? What is important that you did, not just in your writing, but in your life, in your work, in your, you know, in your presence in the world. And that, you know, I mean, I used to make fun of my mom all the time talking about her legacy and stuff like that. I'm like, Mom, you're not that old, but now I get it. Now I get it. You know, it's not just about, you know, retirement or whatever. It's about living what you do, you know, every day. And that's hard. That's hard.
What you're gonna pass on.
Yep.
Yeah. Katie, if people do want to submit for their work to be shared, what can they do?
Well, I think Corinne and I can collect them. If they want to, we can scan them. If you have it written, you can email it to us. I kind of like, well, yeah, if you have it written, you can email it to us. And I can put my email, well, I'm going to send you all a survey so you'll have my email.
Yeah.
And we have, I'm looking for a calendar. We have time. So if you didn't create it now, you can create it later. The grant is through the end of July. You know, if we have enough pieces to create a book or something that we could all have, that would be nice. So we could read everybody's poetry.
Would it be possible, Katie, if somebody wrote something that they maybe shared one poem here, but they have maybe like 2 or 3 poems, would it be okay to submit all 3 of those?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And I like the idea of the theme too. You know, his all of his themes. He's got a lot of them. If you haven't seen the conversations on Hemingway, that's a quick way to find out more about him. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating man. But you know, he had so many different things that went on with him. Family, hitting his head. You know, you could do poems about injuries, and just like you've done tonight.
Yeah,
you might have a poem that's sitting there that relates to him. I think that would work.
I think a lot of people like you know, have written things that either directly speak to something that he said or did, but then also there's a lot of things that fall in the theme of something that he embodied and that was meaningful to that person. And that's so important.
I agree. Yep. So we have time. Everybody has time.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I got your survey for the last one. I'm going to fill it out, I promise.
Oh, I'm going to send you another one.
I have it.
Good.
I think the only person who's here will just, if Monica, if you do want to share, it's open. The floor is open to you. If not, that's totally okay.
Yes, we are getting ready to kind of wrap up here pretty soon, I think. But if you have something that you want us to hear, we'd be more than happy to listen to it. Or, you know, if you're here just to like participate in a like applausatory way, that is also okay. I'm down to make up words.
Usually at Word Humboldt, we do a group piece at the end of the night where everyone has a line.
Yeah, that's a cool Word Humboldt thing. So we have a prompt at the beginning of the night. We read the prompt and then we pass around a journal, which of course, you know, we don't do that.
Like one of
but
these ones?
We do. We pass around a Word Humboldt journal, Word Humboldt. It's
And you
pretty
can purchase it,
awesome.
any
And you write, you know, a line in the poem, and then the cool thing at the end of the night is we read the poem that everybody participated in and wrote. We didn't do that today,
but we can do it in the future.
We can, and we will. We can, and we will. We do it for our Instagram shows as well when we're online. You comment in the comment section, and then kind of all comes together. Yeah. So it's pretty fun.
All right. Yeah. If anyone just wants anything else they want to say or talk about before we close out tonight,
look at Todd's dog.
Look at Todd's dog.
I want to say that.
That was very
big fan.
Important.
Thank you for all the pets that are on, because anytime I see a pet, I'm thrilled. And also to thank everybody and KEET and Word Humboldt for partnering with us. This has been a really fun program and fun to put it together and be able to come together in times where we're not able to meet. So to kind of work around the barriers and find a way to come together and share words. So it's been really great.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
Yeah. And then, unless anybody has any parting words or anything, we can go ahead and call it for tonight. And if anybody has any work, Katie will be sending out a survey, and so you'll have her email. You also have my email, because I sent out the Zoom link, so send it to us. Like that. And follow Word Humboldt on Instagram.
Yes, follow us on Instagram,
for
Facebook,
future things.
For future things. I am so excited. We are going to get back out into the redwoods. Some of my favorite shows have been out in the trees in the redwoods.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible. It's like at sunset. I mean, it's just really, really something. So I hope to see you guys in the whole real world. I will look like this with a mask on my face. But, if you recognize me, say hi.
All right. Well, everyone have a great night, and we'll see you hopefully later.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks everyone for sharing. You were all amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye.